Well, thank you and welcome. We are about to start. I'm going to ask that we take our seats and as you see on the agenda, if you know you're going to give a report, you should be so kind to take the front seat so that it will be easy to move to the podium when required to do so. But we want to thank God for this time. I want to welcome you all to the second session of our General Council. And we are going to just take a moment to pray. Shall we pray? Even at this time, our loving Father, we come to you in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Lord, we pray that your Holy Spirit will lead us, and oh God, as we enter into these deliberations, that Father will be guided by you, that God at the end of these sessions, that for honor and glory will be unto your name. Bless us now, Lord, as we begin. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. We just need to make note that yesterday, when we opened our General Council, we did take note of those who are attending for the first time, but we left some out, and we are going to just kindly ask those who, especially members of the General Council, those who have been elected into positions of leadership in the member bodies, to rise and take this time so that we can welcome them. I have only received one name, Terry. I couldn't pronounce the name, the president of the Baptist Union of France. Is he present in the house? Not yet. We want to welcome him. Just make him aware that we welcome him. Yes, sir.
Morris, he is here, the Secretary for the Lateral Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention.
Welcome, my brother. I want to welcome you to the General Council. Thank you. Thank you. We welcome, yes, the president of the JBU, Sister Karen. Welcome to the General Council.
Yes, my name is Lillian, and I was elected as president for the Women Department of Latin America.
Wonderful. Welcome, sister. We welcome you all, and please feel free to participate. Oh,
I am Cleiton Oliveira from Brazil, and I am Vice President of the Church of Barro Preto in Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais.
Welcome, brother.
Ishan de Silva from the Sri Lanka Baptist Parliament.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. Thank you. Haiti Baptist Union. Thank you, my brother. We welcome you. To
Grenada Baptist Association, Molly James from Grenada Baptist, but I'm here as proxy, so this is my first time.
This is your first time. Welcome, my brother. We welcome you all. We welcome you all. Oh, we still have one Lina here. Lina from Lebanon. Welcome. We want to thank God for all of you who have made time to come and what to say. Welcome to the Baptist World Alliance family. Welcome to the General Council. And we bless the Lord for your presence, and feel free to participate and with your sisters and brothers to work together. God bless you. Now, we'll draw attention to our agenda that is set before us, that we have already adopted. At this time, we are going to receive the report from our General Secretary, that will include the staff report. Thank you. Dr. Brown.
We belong to one another because we belong to Jesus. And because we belong to Jesus, we are commissioned with a gospel mission. A gospel mission that includes evangelism, aid and community development, theological reflection, and justice action in the world today. At the Baptist World Alliance, we are working hard to live out this gospel mission today. We do so by embracing our mission statement and the 5 ministry areas to which we have been charged by you, the General Council, and our Executive Committee. Our BWA mission statement: networking the Baptist family to impact the world for Christ. We seek to remain mission-driven and to let this influence everything that we are doing. And we live out this mission in the following 5 ministry areas: to strengthen worship, fellowship, and unity; to lead in evangelism and mission; to respond with aid, relief, and community development; defend religious freedom, human rights, and justice; and to advance theological reflection and transformational leadership. Over these last few months, one of the major initiatives at the Baptist World Alliance has been to continue to seek to shape our life around these 5 ministry areas. This has included aligning our program initiatives around the 5 ministry areas, aligning our BWA team around these 5 ministry areas, aligning our budget and our budget documentations around these 5 ministry areas, aligning our ministry impact reports around these areas, and aligning our fundraising and fundraising initiatives around these 5 ministry areas. Now, this is an ongoing process that's going to take another year to fully complete the first phase. The goal is to emphasize that for many years, the BWA has had significant impact. And we are grateful to build upon the legacy that we have been given. And we will continue to work to create contexts of collaboration that further these kingdom initiatives. An example of all of this can be found in your ministry impact report, which looks a little something like this. Many of you were at our church service when we gathered together last year in beautiful Zurich, Switzerland. I hope that you received this as you got your registration information and that you have had time to read through our full ministry update from this last year. Allow me to just quickly summarize some of these ministry impacts over this last year. Then I'd like to give a couple of office updates, and then I'll spend the remainder of my time highlighting some trends and realities that are occurring within each of these 5 ministry areas. So a quick summation, a few office updates, and then hopefully a more elongated reflection around some new trends. The BWA remains the most internationally diverse network of Baptists in the world, and our Baptist annual gathering remains the internationally most diverse grouping of Baptists. With you, the BWA is hard at work. Over this last year, $325,000 was dispersed through BWA grants in 16 countries, impacting more than 14,000 people. 12,000 people attended an event where they heard someone from the BWA team share. 2,800 volunteer service hours were given to the BWA, which to a large extent is thanks to you and to many who are in this room. Thank you. 2,300 people in this last year gave their lives to Jesus Christ for the first time at an event or conference or activity that was supported by the Baptist World Alliance. 897 member bodies, churches, and individuals supported the BWA, with total giving increasing by 10% on a year-to-year basis. 444 Baptist leaders participated as members of our 16 BWA commissions. 430 Baptist churches remain open and free to worship today, thanks in part, not in whole, but in part to BWA advocacy and to the advocacy of BWA member bodies and to our leadership across North America and the European Union, the Baptists in Latin America and Africa and Asia and the Caribbean. 250 students are enrolled in the Horizons online training program for children and youth workers as they seek a certificate to engage in a more deep way in the ministry to which they have been called. 200 Bibles were purchased for a new church plant in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 200 global leaders signed a commemorative banner in honor of the 78th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We've continued to have 6 representatives credentialed to represent the BWA at the United Nations. This last year, we held 2 strategic advocacy meetings that were hosted by the BWA that focus on violence in the middle belt of Nigeria and increased advocacy both in Washington, D.C. and in Abuja, Nigeria. We continued to participate in 2 dialogues last year conducted with other Christian worldwide communions. 2 young women received a full year of university education by the BWA. We paid for their full participation after their father was martyred. We had 1 major update to the BWA office with the addition of new flooring for the first time in 18 years and a brand new BWA Welcome Center, which was funded by our 1905 member bodies, those 30 member bodies or so that have been traveling with the BWA since the very beginning in 1905. And to the many of you who are in this room, thank you. Your gift has built a beautiful welcome center. And if you weren't there in March to see its grand unveiling, you need to come by and see the welcome center where we so clearly show how the Lord has been at work through the life of the BWA. This last year, we added 1 new member body in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and together 62 countries were directly touched by the BWA through pastoral visits, aid assistance, and direct mobilization of Baptist leaders for international engagement. This is your BWA hard at work. It is a joy to partner with you and with so many others. Now, impact is not just about numbers. It's about lives. Lives that are touched. Eternities that are changed. Encouragement that is given. Mutual learning that is shared. Time that is spent in prayer. And if you want any more of those more compelling stories and details, can I encourage you one more time? Read the ministry update report. Come by and visit with your BWA team so that we can share those with you. In this last year, there was advocacy for religious freedom in Bulgaria that is almost miraculous, and to a large extent was only possible because of the leadership of the Bulgarian Baptist Convention. And Teddy and Didi, we want you to know how grateful we are for your leadership and for all that you have done to represent Baptists in that situation. There were communities in northern Uganda impacted by BWA grants that provided food in a time of need. There are countless conversations with Baptist leaders around the world about the challenges and the opportunities they are facing and faithfulness in Jesus Christ. There is discipleship material being developed by the AABF to help strengthen small group discipleship. These are the stories of the impact of the Lord through the BWA and through our BWA family. Now, to engage in all of these actions takes a full team. We have a hard-working team at the BWA who are committed to the calling that the Lord has placed on your life. And would you join with me in thanking our BWA team? I have already noted that we have several new team members, Philip Nation and Merrick Johnston. Yesterday, the HR committee also affirmed title changes for 2 of our BWA team in order to more accurately reflect the leadership they are already giving in and through the BWA. So I'm grateful today to announce to our General Counsel that we can celebrate new titles. First for Julie Justice, who is our new Director for Global Partnership and Unity. And second for Carolina, here on the front row, who is our new Director for Global Events and Fellowship. We have also been engaged in quite a lot around our communication and social media development. Part of the reason why we are able to engage in so much is because we've really sought to continue to increase our communication, at least in online different sets of presences. We're also in the process of developing a brand new BWA website that will correspond to our 5 ministry areas, that will correspond to our media platforms, that will have an updated design, and even will come with updated new email addresses. So, General Counsel, this is a forerunning. In the near future, you will have to update our contact details as we roll out an entirely new structure. It's under construction. It'll be under construction for just a bit longer, but for the very first time, I'm so pleased to show just a bit of it, and I've asked Meredith if she would come up and share a little bit about our engagement with communication and our brand new website.
Good afternoon. I think that was an after lunch good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, I'm so excited to be able to share with you a few of the things that we have been working on. As Elijah mentioned to you, we've been working to align our brand for consistency and to increase awareness. And so part of that stemmed from aligning our social media presence. And so if you go to Facebook, to Twitter, or to Instagram, you'll find that we are there under one unified handle, which is @BaptistWorld. With that in mind, our new domain for the website will be baptistworld.org. And so we're going to show you just a quick little video that shows you a little bit of the homepage. So as you can see, everything has been updated with new branding, and it will be able to adjust as you see. As you scroll through there, the navigation will adjust itself automatically based upon the device that you're viewing it on. We'll be able to feature all of the great statistical information that we have as an organization, rotate out ads based on what is most current, our 5 key ministry areas. Everything about the ministry section of the site will be centered upon those 5 areas. We've been working to release a lot more video content, and with that in mind, our latest video will always be featured here, promoting any upcoming events that we have, and then it'll conclude with an opportunity for folks to engage with us by subscribing to our email list. So on that sample homepage, as I mentioned, it's been mobile optimized. The statistics tell us that anywhere from 60 to 70% of web viewing is done on a mobile device, a tablet, a cell phone. So we have made sure that the site has been designed in such a way to adjust based upon the device that you are viewing it on. Secondly, it's all secure. We have an SSL certificate and other security protocols that we've put in place to make sure that all giving is 100% secure. And third, it is created using the WordPress platform. This is the industry standard in terms of a content management system, and this will enable us, now that we have all of our content in this system, should we wish to change the design in the future, the content will easily migrate and we'll just be able to adjust the design accordingly. In terms of content, you'll find as we begin to roll out the site that we want to have individual member body pages. And this is where I'll be looking for your help to make sure that you're sending in that great statistical information that Julie asked for, and other content about what God is doing in your regions and your countries. And that way we'll be able to share with the rest of the world what God is doing in your area. You'll also find that it'll be the digital home for Baptist World Magazine, so all current news will be there for you to find, easily accessible and easily shareable. Our weekly prayer updates, and then a variety of resources that we'll be able to share with you, one of which that Dr. Brown will share in a little bit about statistics and trends within the Baptist world. So with that in mind, if you are not currently receiving our emails, you can go to this address and you can choose to subscribe to a variety of different lists that we have. If you'd like to get our weekly email that shares about countries that we're praying for, we pray through every country in the world throughout the year. And we'd love for you to subscribe to that if you're not already. Monthly updates, quarterly updates, messages from Dr. Brown. All of those are opportunities that you have to sign up. The last piece I want to share is that we're excited that this is just phase 1 of this digital footprint for us, the front door digitally of the Baptist World Alliance. Phase 2 of this website will take our existing domain, which you know to be bwanet.org. We will take that existing domain and that will become an intranet that really is a home place for the for folks to be able to come and find all of the information that has been developed over years and years and years. The great work that our commissions are doing, all of that information, our goal is to be able to create a digital library online that you can access, and that will become an intranet where you can search for that information and those resources, and then be able to in turn use those as God leads you. So with all that in mind, we're excited about what God is doing. We thank you for your patience as we continue to develop these communication tools and others, and we look forward to your feedback when it launches officially.
I want you to know that Merritt has been part of the BWA team for 6 months. In her first 6 months, she has helped launch a Congress website, helped design the new BWA Welcome Center, designed 2 major BWA reports, such as the Ministry Update, grown our social media platform by over 10%, completely redesigned our weekly call to prayer emails, that is really excellent, redeveloped our monthly email newsletter, and is now leading our efforts to build a completely new BWA website. That's an awesome first 6 months. And Merritt, we are very grateful for your leadership. Can I also ask Trish if she would be willing to come up? Trish has just finished planning and leading the 9th Baptist International Conference on Theological Education, and I want to thank Trish for all the hard work that she did to make this a possibility. Trish, would you take a moment and just share with us, for those who aren't able to be at this international conference? And perhaps we'll have music.
I want to thank Elijah. It's also imperative for me to thank the BWA staff, past and present, for all the work put into VICTA. These sorts of events require hours, as in 2 years of hours of preparation. And I want to thank you, my friends, to Merritt, to Ashley, to Shannon, Aaron, Elijah, Mike, Kendra, Neville, Lauren, Monica, Rachel, Philip, Kathy, Minnie, Carolina, and Julie. Thank you very much. A special thank you goes to Tomas Mackey, the chair of the Theological Education Commission, and to many others who offered wise counsel in the days of preparation for this conference. The days of VICTA were full from morning to night. Those who probably look the most sleepy are either from jet lag or because of attending VICTA. We heard from 6 plenary presenters, followed by 3 respondents for each paper. The charisms of women in ministry, incarnation of faith, Akiku Matsumura, as a model of Japanese Baptist spirituality, Bible translations and how they have affected women's engagement in the church and in society. The place of women in a Baptist theology of ministry. When the love of Christ rules over us, we are accountable. And the 6th plenary, vocational call, Run, Ma, Run. The breakout sessions and affinity groups explored issues such as rethinking resources, textbooks, curriculum, etc. Global collaboration, requirements set forth by various bodies, and how we might be better global collaborators around theological education. And rethinking Christian training and discipleship for the workplace. We gathered from all 6 regions of the BWA around the table. We were challenged and we were inspired to reimagine and reread. Is the video? Let's watch the video. That this was not a women's only conference. This was a theological education conference. The presence of men and women, those more seasoned scholars and some embarking on their years of scholarship were all present around the table. Toward the end of the conference, we invited a panel to sit before everyone and respond to questions that were asked from participants. And our own president, Holmes Caesar, gave a stirring and passionate response of his own testimony to the days in South Africa. And as they gathered as a church when apartheid no longer existed, they said that the presence of women and the inclusion of women was necessary. Otherwise, it would be like that unto apartheid. Did you hear that? This is from our president. Thanks be to God for you, Paul, and for your prophetic word. The conference began with a song, and shoes from various parts of the world were placed on a table, representing the beautiful feet that brought us to the table from all regions of our BWA world, representing the beauty of those and the diversity of those who gathered. And as those shoes were placed, we sang a song. We sang also this song again at the end of the conference. And so I invite you, if you're able to stand with me, and we will sing stanza 4 of the song, and I will count on those who were at the conference to sing with me. Please stand if you're able, and we'll sing verse 4. The Spirit knows, the Spirit calls, by love's divine ordaining, the friends we need to serve and lead, their heart and gifts unchanging. The Spirit knows, the Spirit calls, from women, men, and children, the friends we need to serve and lead. Rejoice and make them welcome. Thank you for singing with me. You may be seated. In the next month or so, we hope to have everything gathered, all the resources from the conference, that you might also have access and use them with your organizations, with your congregations. The resources are prophetic and profound. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yes, thank you for your leadership. Yesterday, the HR committee affirmed with me a new voluntary position for BWA historian. This is an exciting new position. The individual who will hold this will hold it for a 5-year term and will serve in a voluntary capacity to strengthen our commitment to learning from our history and to building upon our heritage. And so I'm pleased to announce that when he retires and after he takes a month, I am told, of doing nothing, then on February 1, we will welcome American Baptist Convention leader Lee Spitzer as our first BWA historian. Please, we thank you for your service. Last year, you will also remember that I asked the General Counsel for authorization to launch a $2.5 million fundraising initiative called Together 2020. The goal of this campaign is to strengthen the ministry areas of the BWA so that we can enter into the 2020 Congress as strong as possible. Now, we've got a long way to go, but I'm very pleased to announce today that so far we have raised $1.7 million of the $2.5 million campaign. The BWA finances continue to need to be strengthened as the Lord is continuing to open the doors, so many doors for the BWA and for His kingdom. But we're making good strides as we make them together. Don't let up. We need your continued support, the support of your member body, the support of your church, and your personal support. We can all, every one of us, give generously and give sacrificially. We must keep moving forward for the BWA to remain financially stable. Speaking of Congress, we are going to have an incredible Congress next year. And you'll hear a full report later from our Congress Chair, Jerry Carlisle, who has offered such strong and able leadership. Jerry, thank you. But to you, the General Counsel, I am appealing to you. We need you to come and participate in the Congress, in the youth stream, and in the Together stream. And we need you to bring a delegation with you. The parade of nations, the roll call of the member bodies, speakers from every BWA region, 30-plus workshops, an evangelism event on Saturday night, and a global family communion on Sunday. You will want to be part of this Congress, and we want you to be part of this Congress. Those of you who are here at the annual gathering are our core leadership in the BWA. You have all heard about the Congress, and I would like to suggest that the time of thinking about Congress is behind us. This is the time for decision making. So let me ask, how many of you, by show of hands, are committing to come to the BWA Congress next year? And how many of you are committing to bring someone with you to the BWA Congress next year? And I invite you to continue to pray with us. Every Thursday morning at 8 a.m., I pray that the Lord will use this Congress in a powerful, powerful way. The Lord is doing great things in the life of the BWA. There is much to celebrate, and there is much more to do together. So having done a little bit of some office updates and some program updates, I'd like to use the remainder of my report to reflect on some trends that are impacting Baptists around the world. With this report today, this afternoon, we are launching a new initiative at the BWA in developing, analyzing, and sharing Baptist world trends on an annual basis, something that I hope we will come to look forward to together. So this is the 2019 Baptist World Trends Report. We will focus on each of the 5 ministry areas, beginning with a growing BWA family. Over the last 10 years, BWA Baptists have witnessed significant worldwide growth. Collectively, in the last 10 years, the BWA family has grown from 31%, from 36 million to 47 million. Maybe one more on the slide. Now, however, we give God thanks for this kind of growth within the BWA family. However, there has been significant regional differentiation. In the last 10 years, in Europe and the Middle East, we've seen a 7% decline. In North America, a 6% decline. I'm sure those of you from Europe and North America are not surprised to hear the Baptist churches are struggling. But in the Asia-Pacific region, we've seen a 6% growth. In the Caribbean, we give God thanks that in the last 10 years, we've seen 43% growth. In Latin America, 33% growth. And in the last 10 years, we give God thanks that in Africa, we've had 161% growth. In the last 10 years, your BWA Baptist family in Africa has grown from 7 million to almost 19 million. We say again, we recognize how the Spirit of the Lord is moving in powerful ways around the world. And we give thanks for Baptists in Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, Latin America, North America, in Europe, and in all places where Baptists are leading in mission and evangelism. But what about this last year? Do you know what Baptist conventions in this last year grew fastest or grew the most? So using those conventions that gave consecutive reports, that is, consecutive reports. And I say it one more time, Julie. They should give reports every year so that we are really sure what is happening and we can draw upon the best of our resources to share what the Lord is doing around the world. So using those member bodies which have given consecutive reports, building upon those annual profile, these are the top 10 fastest growing Baptist conventions in the world in this last year. Number 10, now this is by percentage, right? By percentage, not by numbers. Some of these are small and are still small, but by percentage. Number 10, the Turkish Baptist Alliance, 15% growth. Number 9, the Baptist Church of Congo. Number 8, the Union of Baptists in Belgium. Number 7, the only one in North America, the Zomi Baptist Churches of America. We have some of those Zomi leaders here. Number 6, the Convention of the Philippine Baptist Churches Incorporated. Number 5, the Baptist Convention of Tanzania. Number 4, the Faith Evangelical Baptist Church of South Sudan. Number 3, the Ethiopian Addis Kidan Baptist Church. Number 2, the Reformed Baptist Convention in Rwanda. And by our records, the fastest growing Baptist church anywhere in the world, or Baptist convention anywhere in the world last year, was the Cameroon Baptist Convention, with year-to-year report of 85% growth. Six of the top 10 fastest growing conventions in the world this last year were in Africa, including all of the top 5. In North America, the fastest growing Baptist convention was an immigrant and refugee group that has migrated to the United States, and for whom we are deeply grateful that you joined the BWA now 2 years ago. Let me add one other special recognition. In developing these trends, we also considered the fastest growing in each BWA region. And in the Caribbean, as I announced the other day, the 2018 fastest growing convention in the Caribbean was the Bahamas National Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention. We are grateful yet again to you, our hosts, for this annual gathering. Now, it's not all about numbers. We all know that. It's about faithful obedience. Not every place and every culture and every context are open in the same way. We do not want to celebrate numbers alone, but faithful obedience. And we know that just as it is important to share, how we share is also important. Patterns of evangelism and mission are changing. We're not recalling some sort of return to some older patterns. That we share and how we share both matter. The challenge is that can every one of us, every church, every member body, have a passion for evangelism, for church planting, for home groups, for small groups, for discipleship, as it looks in your local area, your local language, and your local context? What we want is between the diversity of our forms and formats, that we might pray together and live under the conviction that every Baptist is a missionary. Now, as part of this effort, I am asking you to join with us at the BWA and participate in Go 2020. I am asking all BWA Baptists to consecrate the month of May 2020 to intentionally share the gospel and work to start new churches and discipleship groups. What would it look like if all 168,000 BWA Baptist churches would work to train their members, prepare their members, and use all 31 days in the month of May 2020 to share the gospel boldly and widely? What would it look like if all 47 million Baptists would personally share the gospel with at least one person in the month of May 2020? Don't wait on us at the BWA. This is a very straightforward call. It is for member bodies, churches, and individuals. We want to use May 2020 to intentionally share the gospel in your context, your language, in your culture, in your style, in your manner, but under the conviction together that we are called to share the gospel. Every Thursday at 8 a.m. I pray for the Congress. Every Friday at 8 a.m. I pray that the Lord will use this initiative throughout the life of the BWA to spark many new evangelism moments and small group discipleship units. Let us continue to be a gospel-centered, evangelistic community. Every Baptist a missionary. We have a growing Baptist family. But in addition to this, we face many significant humanitarian and economic challenges. In the midst of these situations, many BWA Baptists respond with creativity and compassion. Rooted in the belief that we are challenged to generously love our neighbor, the BWA responds to people in need, collaborate in times of crisis, network agencies, support sustainability and creation care, build capacity, empower local church engagement, and resource aid relief and community development. Now, there are many global challenges that could be identified. Natural disasters, environmental degradation, refugee and migration flows, economic development. But one of the two Baptist world trends that we are focusing on this year is that of hunger. Hunger is a powerful force. Structures can enforce conditions that overextend hunger. That is true in every country in the world. Poverty does not discriminate, but discrimination does influence poverty. Non-livable wages, underemployment, create conditions where entire segments of our brothers and sisters live in chronic hunger. Hunger is a powerful force, and we neglect hunger at a great price. Chronic hunger leads to higher infant mortality. Chronic hunger leads to less lactation and the nutrients so needed for the most vulnerable among us. Chronic hunger often correlates to a lack of safe drinking water and inadequate sanitation. Hunger negatively impacts physical health. Hunger impacts the development of the brain. Hunger decreases life expectancy. Hunger decreases primary school attendance. Hunger leads to greater illiteracy. Hunger is a powerful force. And hunger stands behind war and conflict today. Evil forces continue to target food sources. They burn down crops, destroy harvests, steal livestock. They inflict starvation and famine as a weapon of war and a tool for control. Hunger relates to the refugee flows and population migrations today. And today I suggest, as you so well know, brothers and sisters, that hunger stalks failed states and failed neighborhoods. Hunger can be weaponized as the wealthy overindulge, while the cries of starvation and famine echo from the corners of our world. Hunger is a powerful force, and as you know, it is one that Jesus directly addresses. Now, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization maintains a database of low-income, high food deficit countries. These are the countries where there are contexts of chronic hunger. Now, that does not mean that every person in that country faces hunger, but it does mean that there are many people in those countries who regularly and consistently face hunger and have little personal means to directly address that reality. Using this United Nations documentation, there are 2.7 billion hungry neighbors in our world today. Friends, these are our neighbors. It does not matter if they are Baptist or Christian, if they are Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, indigenous religion, no religion, or anything else. It doesn't matter if they've made good choices or bad choices, if they live in a rural village or an inner city. To follow Jesus is to work to provide food for the hungry. They're our neighbors. Now, how many Baptists face hunger? It's a question to which I wish I had a better answer. But the best I can do is to give you an approximation. We can build upon our BWA member data and the UN data to note that there are 33 countries that are low-income, high food deficit countries where there are a total of 92 BWA member bodies. That approximates to about 47,000 BWA churches. To put it another way, 17 million BWA Baptists, or 37% of all BWA Baptists, are living in a context, the reality, we go to the next slide, to the reality of chronic food deficit. We've missed the slide. Let me say that again. 17 million BWA Baptists, or 37% of all BWA Baptists, are living in a context of food deficits. The top 10 countries with the greatest number of Baptists facing food deficits, and again, I want to be clear here, this does not mean that every Baptist in those countries is hungry. As we see this list, it could be noted that there are some Baptists who are facing the realities of hunger. It can also be noted that there are Baptists who are already engaging in hungry ministry in those countries. So we have to think with some nuance about all of these realities, but nonetheless, whether these Baptists are hungry or whether they're living in a country where there is chronic hunger, these are the Baptists who are at the forefront of this reality. Number 1, Nigeria. Number 2, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. 3, India. 4, Tanzania. 5, Rwanda. 6, Kenya. 7, Uganda. 8, Malawi. 9, Ghana. 10, the Central African Republic. Friends, hunger is a powerful force. It's one of the reasons why we are working on it. And it may not all happen, but one of the programs that we're working on at the Congress, if we can get all the details together, is to try to have food packing at the Congress, because we believe in addressing the reality of hunger. Now, if you'd like to see an awesome video about how one Baptist group is responding to this reality, please go to the BWA YouTube channel. Yes, we have a new BWA YouTube channel. If you haven't gone and signed up so that you can get updates, please do so. And you can find a video there where one of our BWA Vice Presidents, Michael Okwakwol, is helping lead an incredible feeding program in Uganda. It's why we're working so hard by Congress of next year to even more fully build out this brand new BWA Forum on Aid and Development, or BFAD, a brand new network of Baptist agencies, Baptist training centers, Baptist individuals who are professionally addressing the issues of aid, relief, and community development. And we're just beginning, and yet we're already up to 11 agencies that have joined this BWA Forum on Aid and Development. And this is a new way for BWA Baptists to help create collaboration and engagement in an equitable way around the world. It's taking us several years, but you want to get it right so that you can have the greatest amount of impact in the way of Jesus Christ. It's an exciting development, and I look forward to seeing how it continues to develop. Growth, practical challenges, and one more area that I'd like to consider as part of our first Baptist World Trends report. Throughout the world, restrictions on religious freedom and basic human rights infringe upon Baptists specifically and societies generally. Committed to a biblical understanding of the image of God in every person, the BWA defends an ethic of life, supports religious freedom for all, stands in solidarity with the marginalized, and advocates at every level, trains and networks proactively and mobilizes for religious freedom, human rights, and justice. Genocide and Holocaust scholars maintain an active database documenting political and societal conditions that give rise to state-sponsored mass killing. Today, that list includes 30 countries. 30 countries where elements within the government could be working to plan the whole-scale slaughter of their citizens. Now, that does not mean that state-sponsored mass killing up to the point of genocide will occur. But if it does, these scholars tell us that we would have to reflect with honesty that the signs had been there because the human rights conditions had become so precarious. These are the top 5 countries where BWA Baptists are living in a country where the conditions for government-sponsored killing up to the point of genocide are possible. Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, India, Tanzania, and Uganda. Using this data from Holocaust and genocide scholars, we can note that 37% of all BWA Baptists live in a context where state-sponsored mass killing remains a distinct possibility. 1 out of all 3 Baptists in the world. We have to respond. Felt more broadly around the world is the reality of religious freedom restrictions. The BWA continues to believe in religious freedom for all people of all faiths or of no faith. Religious freedom will remain a core component to BWA identity and ministry advancement. Many of you will remember the horrific attacks on Easter Sunday in Sri Lanka. An attack that occurred across multiple churches and hotels that killed more than 250 people and injured more than 500. Like so many of you, I was shocked and immediately began to pray. I also reached out to Heshan De Silva, the leader of the Baptist Convention in Sri Lanka, to let him know that the BWA family would be praying with them and standing with them in any way that we could. Though no Baptist churches were directly impacted throughout this time, Brother Heshan, our BWA Baptist brother, has been the chair of the National Council of Churches in Sri Lanka and has been at the forefront of helping respond to this situation across the nation. And I'm so grateful that Brother Heshan could be present with us this afternoon. Heshan, would you come up and join me for just a moment? Are you still in the room? Come up and join me for just a moment. And Brother Heshan, I'd like for you to share with our group. Would you tell us about this experience? Come on up so you can have the microphone. Maybe Paul, can you let him borrow one of these microphones? Heshan, tell us, what has this experience meant for you and what has it been like for the churches there?
It has been a time that which has been a very, very sad moment. Because as you know, we had 30 years, we had a civil war in our country. In 2009, the civil war came to an end. We had 10 years, we didn't have any, we had a good time, our people had. But this year, the Easter morning, the people went to church to celebrate the Christ risen. But 2 very big Catholic churches and 1 evangelical church was a suicide bomber came into the church, and inside the church he exploded. So, according to census, there's more than 250 people have been killed, and a lot of children, especially the evangelical church in Badiklo, in East, a lot of children have been killed. So it was a time that we were shocked, and because that was something that which we didn't expect at that time. So though they are Catholic or evangelical, or though they are not belong to the National Christian Council, that they are brothers and sisters and children of our nation. So we started weeping at that time.
As you have led as the leader of the National Council of Churches, what has it meant to try to lead in this environment, in this reality?
Yeah, at that time that it was a very, very unfortunate at that moment, because it's the government was not ready to face that kind of situation at that moment. So the churches have to stand with this situation and push the government even to take steps and to continue the work, that relief work and that rebuilding, and especially some of the families, they have only the father or mother is remaining, the children and the father or mother is killed. So it's still that trauma is there, that the people are going through that. It's though it's Catholic or whatever the denomination, but it's something that which we didn't expect, and that what we didn't want to hear, but it happened, and it's a sad situation.
One last question. How can we best pray for you and pray for the churches in Sri Lanka today?
Yeah, I think especially pray for the Baptist Church as well as the National Christian Council of Sri Lanka, because that we have to stand with the government at this moment. And the other thing is, it's very sad at the moment, it has become a political issue, because end of the year that there's our presidential elections are coming up. So each person is trying to put the ball into the other person's court. So I think we want justice. We want justice, because up to this, that everyone is trying to blame each other, but no one has been directly taken the responsibility or said that you are responsible. So please pray that justice will be prevail and justice will be done for the families that we affected.
I haven't asked you to do this, but V, are you in the room? V, would you be willing to come up and pray for our brother? V is our regional secretary of APBF, and V, can I call upon you on behalf of all of us here at the BWA to pray? And Heshan, I want you to know that we are with you. And on behalf of all of us in the General Council of the BWA family, would you let the churches in Sri Lanka know, Baptist, Catholic, Evangelical, that we are praying with them, and we will continue to pray for your country. V?
Let's all bow down. Heavenly Father, as we have heard from our brother Heshan, the tragedy that fell upon our people there, we have been saddened, Father, from all these killings. We have been saddened about how people have suffered, how people have been affected. So many tragedies, Father. But Father, we know that in all this, you still reign over each one of us. And our prayer is that, Father, through this suffering, that we will be able to hold each other's hand. We will be able to go along this suffering together, holding, standing, and Lord, just being able to be there for our brothers and sisters in Sri Lanka. We continue to pray, Father, for the government as they are on the midst of these elections, when more people might be affected. We pray, Father, for wisdom upon the people. We pray for wisdom upon the church leaders, that they will come together, united, Father, and then be able to speak for the people. Father, we also thank you that as BWA, as member of all these people, Father, we are here standing for them, and then calling upon you, Lord, that today you hear our prayer. Thank you, Lord. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Brother Sean, we will continue to pray for you, and for so many around the world who are impacted, we will continue to pray. V, thank you for letting me call on you at a moment's notice. Every year, we're coming to the end now, but every year, Pew Research produces an annual list evaluating religious freedom at a global level, and they consider two areas. The first are government restrictions that limit religious freedom. The second relates to social violence based on religion. Both of those are important, both government restrictions and social violence. The top 10 countries with the most significant government restrictions facing our BWA Baptist family: Indonesia, Malaysia, Russia, Egypt, Syria, Uzbekistan, Singapore, Turkey, Myanmar, and Israel. The top 10 countries. Again, this is not to say that every Baptist is involved. It is not to say that every Baptist is impacted. It is to say, according to the Pew Research, that these are countries in which these activities occur. The top 10 countries with the most significant violence based on religion or related to religion: number 1, India, Syria, Nigeria, Egypt, Israel, Bangladesh, Russia, the Central African Republic, Ukraine, and Germany. Now, if you subtract the duplicates that appear on both lists and only consider those Baptists who are most impacted, it would be 11 million Baptists in 17 countries, representing 23% of all BWA Baptists, facing the most significant religious freedom, legal restrictions, and social hostilities. In these realities, we will continue to press at the BWA. We will stand with the daughters in the Central African Republic, whose church leading father was martyred last year, and whom we provided a scholarship so that the daughters could continue to receive an education. We will continue to stand with Bulgaria, as we did this last year, when under threat of closure at the end of the year from proposed government regulations. We will continue to stand with Gregory Perez, a youth leader in Venezuela, who is facing unjust charges right now. We will continue to stand for religious freedom for all people, anywhere and everywhere. And I invite all of us to continue to support a movement called #Red Wednesday, which will be this year on November 27th. And it's an opportunity for every church and every convention to use your social media to support religious freedom for all. Who are we as a global BWA Baptist family? We are a growing family where we will continue to press with evangelism and mission. We are a family that faces humanitarian challenges such as hunger. We are a family who, in the face of religious restrictions, continue to live in faithful obedience to our convictions in Christ. One of my intentions is that each year the BWA will produce a new set of Baptist world trends so that we can continue to understand together where we are at and some of the opportunities and challenges that are before us. Now, there's a lot more that we could be doing. And as we have additional resources, we will do even more. But I'm very pleased that today we can launch this new resource. As you, in just a few moments, will be going to break. When you come back from the break, as you come back into the room, all of these slides, plus more information that we did not cover, will be presented to you in our first BWA Baptist World Trends set of information, so that you can carry this information and continue to move in all of these realities that we are facing. BWA Baptist, it has been an incredible year. We want to continue to partner with you as member bodies. We want to continue to partner with you as individuals. We want to continue to partner with you as churches. When you came in today, you hopefully saw that there was a leaflet on your chair which is our first draft of a new Global Impact Church brochure, so that your church can know how to continue to partner with the Baptist World Alliance. BWA Baptist, I look forward to gathering 1 year from now in beautiful Rio de Janeiro and celebrating with you under the chairmanship of our BWA President Paul Mziza, the 22nd Baptist World Congress. We belong to one another because we belong to Jesus. And because we belong to Jesus, we are commissioned with a gospel mission. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Well, yes, thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your report. As been presented before us, which included the staff report, I'm going to then ask the members of the council to move a motion to receive the report. We have Reverend Carl Johnson moving. We have second by Chris. And all in favor, can we show our name tags? Thank you. Do we have anyone against the move? Any abstention? So carried. Thank you. We received the report. Mr. General Secretary, thank you, sir, for the work that you are doing for the Baptist World Alliance. And once again, let us give him a round of applause for the work. I'm going to hand the mic over to my co-chair to lead us through the next two items as we proceed with the council.
We're almost at the break, and for all of you who have the nods from lunch, we just got a little more to go before the break, and then don't get any sugar when you go to the break. So first we'll have our report from the membership committee. I'm going to ask Brother Roy to come up and present that.
To our General Secretary, our President, and our Presiding Officer. Mr. President, in your report, you said that nothing in your visits gave you more joy than being invited to participate in baptizing new believers.
Yes.
That's the way I feel when I bring the possibility of a new member before this body.
That's right.
There's a sense of joy that there are those who want to join us and become a part of this movement that is blessing so many in the world. Today, on behalf of the Executive Committee and the Membership Committee, it is my pleasure to bring to you the recommendation that we receive into membership the Zomi Baptist Convention of Myanmar. The Zomi is a convention of 27,964, let's call it 28,000.
That's right.
They'll be there soon. And over 190 churches. They were established in 1995, and at that point began inquiring about the possibility of membership. So we are glad that we are able to culminate that desire on their part in this meeting today. If accepted, they will be the third BWA member from Myanmar. We have heard today about some of the situations in the world in which Baptists live. The Chin Baptists, of whom the Zomi people are one portion, have been living under great repression by their government, by the military of that country. There are over 100,000 refugees in Malaysia, the majority of them being from the Chin state. There's another group of refugees from the Chin state living in India, their neighbor to the west. There are thousands of them living in the diaspora, where they have been accepted as refugees and where they are growing and developing churches. Their faith is strong. Their commitment to Jesus Christ is solid. They desire to expand their witness and their participation by joining this Baptist World Alliance. So on behalf of the Executive Committee I bring the motion that we receive the Zongi Baptist Convention of Myanmar into the fellowship of the Baptist World Alliance.
You've heard that report, and we invite someone to move for that. Any second? Okay, and I can't pronounce your name. Thank you. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
Amen.
Amen.